Good afternoon. This is John Blaze. Hello, Blazers. Oh, please. Okay, here's the skinny. Here's the skinny. The bummer's lawyer, man, has not been cooperative at all. I don't know if he gave up on the case or something, but there's certain things, let's just say, he's supposed to do that he did not do. So that makes it even more interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes it a lot more interesting. There's not a lot of cooperation going on with his attorney. Apparently not. Second, well, a lot of activity going on my side as we speak, actually, or as of tomorrow, really. We're going to find out what we need to know, let's put it that way. We'll find out what we need to know, one way or the other. And if it takes a personalized trip by the boys, then that's exactly what they're going to do. So everything is silencio. No cooperation from his lawyer. No motions filed. Nothing. And as far as the marriage thing is concerned, what I was just told is that he would have to basically personally leave the cell, go to particular offices, and have his own signatures, is what he'd have to do. They're not going to let him leave the cell to go to any kind of a government related office. But he would have to personally put his signature to certain paperwork. And if he can't do that, he can't get married. Also, in consideration of all of the above, is it possible to be able to get married under his situation? It's possible, but it's improbable for all the likeliness of everything that's going on and requiring everything from NBI clearances. And of course, you got to have an active visa. He doesn't have an active visa. He doesn't have one. And his passport's about expired. So without certain documents, you can't really do much of anything, really. Now, how he plans on pulling that off, but let's examine the reason that he wants to get married. It's not because he's so madly in love with his wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous girlfriend. No, he's using this as a tool to see if he could have a stay in the Philippines and not have to be transported back to America. Now, he already has a summary deportation. That's in writing. There's no question he'll be leaving the country, but what he's trying to do is he's trying to delay that process. He thinks that that's going to solve all his problems, is to get married. Instead, let's say he gets time. He's just going to mess up his girlfriend's life if he was able to actually get married. He's going to mess her whole life up. Divorce is final in the Philippines. There is no divorce in the Philippines. He will ultimately leave her in a bad position. But it's not about her, you got to understand. It's always about him. What's good for him, not what's good for her. A very selfish man that's not thinking of consequences for her. He wants to put her on a hot stone, and that's exactly what he's doing. Even if it was a plan, well, I'll tell you what, if you marry me, I might be able to stay in the Philippines. I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. And to get married for that reason? But like I said before, I don't care who he marries. If he was able to get married, it's just not going to help his situation. He thinks that's a magic tool that's going to solve all his problems. But it's not. I'll guarantee you it. It may be the beginning of his problems. They're just starting. Trial back in March. Going to be in March. Trial begins again in March. He's supposed to get married on February 8th. Let's see that miracle happen. As I said, if you just tuned in, there are documents that he has to sign in person. He has to be able to leave the cell and get permission to do so, which I doubt he was able to do. And even so, again, how do you get married if you don't have an active visa and your passport ready to, expire in the next 4 months or something, which you're supposed to renew your passport anyway, 5 months, somewhere around there. His passport, I think, was told that he had 5 months left on you, and you have to renew it 5 months before. So with that being said, the chances of him getting married is just another lips are moving, lip service. That's all it is. I don't see how he can get married, but I could tell you one thing. There's been seemingly, unless we're missing something here, me or the lawyers, mine, no cooperation, no nothing going on with his attorney. His attorney's supposed to file certain papers, filing a motion for plea bargaining. He hasn't done that. There's a whole series of things his lawyer has to do, and he's not doing it. Did he give up on him? I don't know. Does he have something else in mind? I don't know. Is it a wait and see game to see what happens with me? Still don't make any sense. Okay, but that part, I'm working on as we speak, literally, not figuratively, actually tomorrow. Well, spare the details, and there ain't any I'm going to give out on here. I can tell you that. But let's just say we're not just sitting idly here. No, we're not. There are things that are happening, and we'll find out what we need to know. And as I said, there might be a very special trip to Manila. Not by me, but my attorney. One of them anyway, not both of them. And we're going to find out exactly what's going on, and we're going to pursue this matter even further. And I'm not going to tell you what I mean by that. But let's just say it'll be a very informing trip, and we'll see where it goes. And pretty much, from my standpoint and my lawyer's standpoint, that he most likely will get time in prison. He already pleaded guilty, so that was the first start right there. And since his attorney is not fighting it, well, he didn't want him to plead guilty in the first place. He went against his attorney's wishes and demands. So he kind of fucked himself up and put himself into a corner, is what he did. Didn't want to cooperate with the lawyer. Oh, well, nobody's putting a gun to his head and say cooperate with your lawyer, but he should have. So, hot weather's coming in. Oh, yeah. Starting in March. Some of that big heat's coming into the Philippines, especially when it hits April. To be in that situation is grueling. Absolutely grueling. Well, who put him there? You could say I did, but that's not the whole truth. He knows the truth. That's what he did. Still persists on making comments on his community page and so forth. In other words, apparently don't give a shit about himself, and maybe he's grown accustomed to her face. Maybe he grew accustomed to his living conditions because, as we all know, it's probably the best situation he's ever had in the Philippines. Free rent and everything. I mean, you can get used to being where you are. You could adjust yourself to be in even the worst situations. I could adjust myself if I had to. I mean, well, if you had no choice, I mean, what are you going to do about it, right? You're going to beat up the guards and run over the fence? I mean, what are you going to do? You're there. You have to be there until something changes in their favor, if that was the case, which I just don't see that happening. So heads are going to roll, I think. I think there's going to be some heads rolling, is what I predict here. And big can of worms was opened up, and, well, we'll see what the fallout is on that. That is all. Did you get that done?